All right, guys, happy 21st of March, Saturday. Going to go over the matrix usage, and then the exciting new version 2 we've launched. Um, how's everyone doing? Like I said, this is a recording, so whether you're watching it live or recorded, it's going to be packed with information. Let you guys, 3 p.m., 8 a.m. Amsterdam time, 10 a.m. Yeah, random times. And I know like we can't always pick times that work well for me and everybody. That's why we do the recordings. Um, man, there's Harsh. Harsh just couldn't stay away, could you, Harsh? Let me find Mr. Harsh here. I'm gonna unmute him. Give me a second. Let me find. I got everybody muted. If it requires like a deep discussion that we can't answer from you texting in questions, I'll ask you to unmute. There you go, Harsh. All right. Cool. All right. Did you get unmuted, Harsh?
Yeah, am I audible?
Yep, we can hear you. All right,
Okay.
guys. So we want to talk about the Matrix. First of all, its origins are my trading style, system, education, and experience all piled into one. We have put a massive amount of time, energy, and money into this, and even with the latest release, um, the optimization is just sick. So Harsh has it up to about 71% win rate over the last 30 days. And based on the nuances that I've given him in what I call and what I read. This again, why the matrix? Because it's like having me sitting next to you at your trade desk. It's that simple because this is exactly how I trade primary reads, right? Um, I want to start out the way, and I'll bring Harsh in here a second for the techie side of it. But I want to talk about. I posted in the chat um, a question for you guys um, about that ES trade. And now the optimization will help that. But I want to answer that question. I told everybody I'd answer the question in this. So give me a second. Bear with me. It is in TS indicator chat. There it is. Okay, let me bring it over to the screen. So I showed this screenshot. I want to answer this question though. Ooh, right here. Okay. And my question was to everyone, whoever runs the matrix, look at this screenshot and the sell calls. Which would you take as it occurs? Why and why not? Now, a lot of you guys had some great answers, but I'm going to give you the full answer now. Okay. The first sell signal you had, and we've done some changes here, but this is on the last version, but I want to answer this distinctly because like I said, it's a Formula One race car. You still need to put your hands on the wheel. You still need to put your foot on the gas pedal, folks. All right. This was a sell signal. Uh, this would have been a very good sell signal. And here's why. You had VWAP rejection as your first stack. You had the 5 minute cross as actually the third stack. I purposely skipped the second one, right? And then you got reddish, red indicator, so aggressively bearish here. So you got paid on this trade. If you were hunting 10 points, you would have been above this the open price as well as that pivot, and then paid 10 or more if you were trailing it down to the box. Now the reason why this I consider this a valid trade is because look at the four indicators that we've built in the matrix. Now understand this thing is the entire car, right? The Formula One vehicle. This is the motor. This is the magic. We have so many things built into that color coded system. It's not funny. So you don't have to have 25 things laid on your chart. All right. The reason why this is valid is because you have initial weakness or aggressive bearish. So you can take this with initial weakness, right? This sell signal right here, I would not have taken for the exact same reason. We are below VWAP, right? We do have a 5 minute cross, but look, we are we are in. aggressively bullish momentum on this time frame. And if you would have taken it, you would have been close to your TP, but you got kicked out, right? Now we've done a lot to optimize that so that this doesn't happen. We're going to talk about that in a second, right? But I wanted to answer that question. You need to stack your dominoes, right? So you're getting feedback from your car as you're racing it. You're entering into a turn. You're getting a lot of vibration in the wheel. You probably need to hit the pit stop for the tires, right? Kind of the same thing. All right, but there's a point of contention that we've had with Matrix users who either haven't done their due diligence and watching all the videos and they just wanted buy and sell signals where they weren't disqualifying. This would be a disqualified sell signal. So Harsh and I spent hours and hours together. And to Harsh's credit, guys, this guy is a fucking grinder. He's got it coded, so you would have never got a signal here in the new version. There would be no signal there, so there's no confusion, right? So that answers that question. Now, let me move this out. Anything you want to say on that, Harsh, before we keep going?
Yeah. So the changes we have made in the new one, which is the V2 version. So first, it was not linked to the matrix status, right? So whatever the primary read or the reads which we getting on this, it was not linked to matrix status, and now in the new version we have connected it. So because of that, you won't be seeing that sell signal anymore on that ES, right? You can see this is the new version in front of you guys, and you can
Mhm.
clearly see there is no primary read for that.
Right. So again, the new version, rather than asking the operator to wait for that confirmation, the system waits for the confirmation, which is beautiful, right? So, um, just kind of a quick look into what we have on here now, guys. We have it automatically puts the mean reversion levels in there for you. No longer do you have to painstakingly build these boxes and then drag them and drag them and drag them. They're in there for you, right? So we have our mean reversion levels, and that's on any asset. Look, there's a 15-point range with the key price notated in the dash line. If we look at NQ, uh, it's a 15 point. No, it's a 150 point line as it should be. So it's doing all the work for you because we have the high, low, open, and close. On the board, we also have our gold lines, the VWAP, the yellow lines, the 9, the blue lines, the 20. And notice it no longer says buy or sell. It says primary read. Red being your primary read short, green being your primary read long. Um, Also in this, guys, let me grab. Um, there we go. So So every primary read now is confirmed by the matrix momentum engine. So where I asked you the question about disqualifying that trade, you no longer have to. The motor disqualifies it for you. It will not give you the read without that qualification that I was asking you to look for, making it even more uber simple, which also increases the win rate because you won't get those tougher signals, right? Um, the mean reversion levels are thrown in. You don't have to put them in. Um, you got a cleaner chart with the mean reversion levels. We are using the latest version of Pine Script, which is cleaner, faster, and future proof. And then the signals that you can set for the alerts, we'll go over that in a second. Before I get into some of these reads here, Harsh, you want us to look at, is it XAU USD? Is that what you want me to look at, or you want me to look at gold futures?
Both are fine.
Okay. There you go. Um, on some of your updates that you've built here, Harsh, give me some of your input on the things that I just listed there, of the things that you've done.
Yeah. So we have already talked about matrix link signal, right? So it is autonomous. But other than that, we have added mean reversion levels. So these are not the psychological levels on your charts marked already, but we won't be having any trades in the psychological level right now, which increases our probability to win that trade. So earlier, people you do not used to understand what mean reversion levels are, where how to mark them, and where they exist, right? But now it's already in front of you, marked everything. You know the levels where you have to trade, and the system automatically eliminates all the trades which are present in the mean reversion zones, right? So you won't be
Hmm.
getting any trades in the mean reversion, and this will increase your probability. So people earlier did not used to understand how to do this, but now it has been
Yeah.
automated, so you don't have to think about it.
Yeah, just like Rob said in there, as a beginner, he wasn't sure how to build the boxes. We will still teach you to build the boxes. I think it's important for you to understand how to do it, but this does it for you. That's I can tell you every morning doing the morning report, me building boxes takes the largest amount of time. And now look, it's all done for me. So I like that. Um, Harsh said a key point there, guys. I want to hammer this down. You will not, so the reads will be long reads coming into resistance boxes will be disqualified, and short reads going into green boxes will be disqualified. Now, can they pay? Can you trade them live? Yes, because we talk about it in the war room. We talk about if you're getting a short read into a green box and it pays 10 points, but there's only six there, you have to reduce or sit out. If you're a conservative trader and if you want to have a higher win rate, you stay out of, I'll say it again, long reads going into a short box, short reads going into a long box. Now, as an example, let's say this 5 minute cross was a long read into that red box. You need to avoid this because that is a resistance zone. And then you can see clearly price was clearly rejected off of that. So we've eliminated that, which creates a lot of noise, especially when you don't see it in this version. But when you start getting diamond oscillation, which means price is trapped in one of these mean reversion boxes, this creates a lot of noisy signals. So we've reduced that noise. We've asked the system not to prompt that as a buy or sell signal because those boxes reduce the win rate. So anything else you want to add to that, Harsh?
I think that's it for the main revision, but we have one more thing which where we have put a lot of efforts, right? Even though
Right?
you were getting notifications earlier, the alerts for the all the assets in your charts or your watch list, right?
Hmm.
But the thing was, you were only seeing like it is a buy or a sell and just a notification alert. Now we have made that alerts more smarter. Now you can see which read it is. Is it primary read buy, primary read sell, which as it is, what time frame, what price, what is the matrix which is showing, if 1 hour is bullish or bearish, right? And the
Yeah.
nearest mean reversion level, which is the very big thing.
Yeah,
Because
that's
you know, if it is like 10.5 point away and you are getting a sale, you would like to avoid it because it won't be paying most
yeah.
probably. So
Yeah. Keep going, Harsh.
yeah, so this is a smarter way. So these are these type of notifications. The one which Sean highlighted will be getting on your phone. You will be getting on your phone once you set the alerts. So
Yeah.
for people who have already set the alerts in the earlier version and they have updated it, they will have to set the alerts again for this
Hmm.
one so that they can get the updated rates.
And let me pause Harsh there for a second. Guys, this is extremely powerful. That alert will come to your trading view. You can get it as a text message or email into your phone. And if you're not watching charts, which I don't want you to do all day, you get an alert and it says primary read in gold on the 5 minute chart at this price. What's the matrix status? Well, I don't even open it. It tells me that the matrix is aggressively bullish. The 1 hour is bullish, the 30 minutes bullish, and the nearest mean reversion version level is 10 points away. So if you're hunting 5 points or 10 points, there's room. If it's 6 points away, there's not room. So this is extremely helpful. And it's like the computer right now is saying, hey, this here's the read, here's the information I got. Do you want it? Which is it's absolutely phenomenal. Hats off to Harsh for just putting in copious amounts of hours. Getting I'm a tough guy to work for. I'm like, nope, that sucks, Harsh. Redo it. So uh,
Fine.
yeah. So because this is my mind on an indicator helping you guys trade, been very picky with the way it looks, the way the information is disseminated, the way the reads occur. And again, Harsh has just done a great job with that. Um, so we also have the alerts. What else do you have? Harsh.
So I would like to add few things. So in the last 30
Yep.
days on gold, we have a win rate of over 72.73%. I have attached the screenshot in the announcement also, right?
Hmm.
So in the 22 trading days, we have got over 55 trades. So the trade ratio is also good with a profit factor of 2.667. So anything above 2 is way better. Okay. So, but yeah, there are a few things which you need to keep in mind still. You are getting 73% win rate. You will be saying why we are not getting 100%. No one will be getting 100% anytime in the markets. There are few things which can help you improve. So the first thing is you have to avoid the sessions where there is no volatility, no volume. So
Hmm.
you would not like to take the trade even though the read comes. So that is still the basic thing which you need to remember. And the second thing is volume, which is really very important. So session timings and volume, these are the two things you still need to keep in mind. Plus, if you know the structure of, I mean, if you are really very familiar with the market structure, that could add an additional confluence into your trades, right? And you can make better decisions with it. And you will be getting probably more than 80% win rate, just like Chip.
Yeah, yeah, chip kills it. So let me give you another analogy to what he's saying in terms of market regime and volume. That is the same thing. If you know how to drive a Formula One race car, the two things you got to consider is track conditions and weather conditions, right? It's going to change how you drive it a little bit. It's the same thing here, guys. Uh, yeah, it can only be 100% if you add the student alpha intuition, or you are a split trading, paper trading, lying influencer. That's how you get 100%. So this is the back test of it. 72%, 72% win rate over the last and this it gave how back testing it gave how many signals? Harsh 52, you said?
55 total trade.
55 trading opportunities in the last 30 days. And you would have won
22.
73% of them if you took absolutely every one of them. So let's just let me for fun, let's we had so if you were able to take all 55 trades and you're hunting um 20 points in gold in this expansive market rather than our standard 10, there's 1100 points of opportunity, right? And if so that's 1100 points of opportunity on reads. Now, if you 55 times 73%, where's my percent? So 40 of them paid, right? So 40 times your 20 points, 803 points you would have made on those. And then if you subtract 300 from that, your net would be 500. So let's see what would happen. And this is if you took every trade, guys. 500. And if you did it on one contract, which is times 50, one contract, you made $25,000 in the last 3 days or last 30 days, losing 27% of the time. Guys, it doesn't get much better than that. What would $25,000 do for your side hustle, right? All right. So one of the things I was going to talk about in this when I originally scheduled to do this or talked about doing it a couple weeks ago was talk about disqualifying trades. But due to customer feedback, and again, I think apathetic looks at the information, people just want to blindly buy and sell. Um, Harsh has done a tremendous amount of work to get into my head and say, how do you tell me how you would disqualify this? And then he's put it into this version. So it's kind of pulled the rug out from underneath my legs on teaching you guys how to disqualify, right? So it's you want to make sure you're in a strong trending regime. It's where it pays the most. If price is absolutely just doing this for days, find another asset that's moving. So um, good. Let's start answering some questions that you guys have for me. And Harsh, no question too stupid or too simple. You may not know anything we're talking about. I'm happy to. talk about anything here. Also, I will state that the system is meant to be traded on the 5 minute. I'll make a comment later. Well, if you're a swing trader, I don't trade the 5 minute. Is it useful to me? Yes, it is. It's very useful. I'll explain that in a second. Mike wants to know what asset class does it work on or not work on? It works on every single asset class that has a chart. Now, here's the caveat. The main ones that we trade, your metals, your indices, we know through education, experience, and back testing what the read will pay. Example, ES pays 10, RTY pays 10, gold typically pays 10, expansive market right now, more like 15 to 20. If you use this on an asset like a regular stock, let's call it XYZ stock, the read is 100% valid. It's just we don't know what it pays without back testing it. Say, hey, I like trading Tesla stock. I don't know what Tesla pays, but the reads pay at generally the same click. Now, what I would recommend if you want to use this on any other asset class, you need to is you trail it. So if I didn't know that gold paid 10 and I took this short here, I would just continue to trail it is what I would do. Is the short answer. Can you go to last Thursday New York Open on ES? There are a few during chop. How would you avoid those in the war room? Okay, last Thursday. Oops. So this is Thursday. Yeah. Well, um, Mr. Cramps, you're seeing less signals here than what you're talking about because the optimization removed a lot of that noise, right? The previous version would have given you just a few more signals, but the signals in here that like this signal, why is there not a sell read there? Well, just as I explained, we're against momentum. So that one was removed, right? That one's valid, it's with momentum. That one's valid, it's with momentum. That one's valid, it's with momentum. So the new optimization removed at least one of them creating noise, if that makes sense. Do you have something specific? Is your name, is it Jaron? Am I saying that right, Mr. Cramps? I don't want to mispronounce it. Okay, Jaron. Okay, good. Does that answer your question? We've optimized it to make sure we've asked people in the past, you get to read, make sure momentum's on your side. People didn't want to do that step, so we've done it for you. All right. Um, so how would you set a stop loss for um, a new pair? Yeah. So like if you're trading a currency pair, um, let's say I traded unfortunately, I can't trade currency pairs from the state that I live in. So, but the reads work there great. If on a new currency pair I was trading, yeah, you could go on, I don't know that a 10-minute ATR would be good enough. I'd have to go, full disclosure, I'd have to go look. But what you could do is, let's say this was a currency pair, because this is a great example. And I took this short, and you got to know what your risk tolerance is if you're doing real money or funded accounts, what it is. But let's say I took this short position, right? And I was hunting, you know, 20 points in that currency pair. I would be one of two places. I would move above the VWAP if it's there or above that pivot swing, right? So look at key levels. If it's something new a new asset you're trading, because and then if that's within my point threshold, like if I'm hunting 20 points and then I go 1 to 1, 20, it provides me both VWAP protection and price protection. So I can do that. But let's say arbitrarily my entry was more like this. I would have to pay a little bit more, 9 more points of potential risk to have that added insurance. Hopefully that helps. And if you ever get the matrix and you're trading a currency pair and you want to kind of know more about what nuance that, reach out in the indicator chat. Harsh and I will most definitely help you. Right? If you're running my algorithm on an asset that we're not running it on, we'll definitely help you. No problem. Um, Yeah, I mean, anything relative to the chandelier is, or anything relative to the ATR is chandelier. So an ATR is correct. Industry standard is 2x, 3x, but I don't know that it would be the 10 minute is where I wasn't sure on the ATR. What exactly is recovery and how do we analyze its signal? Early recovery. Okay, so early recovery. So if you look at the matrix motor down here, this is the proprietary. Everybody asks what's in that, you're never going to know, right? This is what separates us from everybody else, and that's why this win rate is so high. So if you look at where that dash line is, anything below the dash line is selling. You have initial weakness and aggressively bearish, and then you have early recovery and aggressively bullish. So yellow and green are bullish, orange and red are bearish. Now we have had some colorblind folks actually that like this, but they have trouble seeing the colors. You could actually adjust the colors. Isn't that right, Harsh?
Yeah, you can definitely adjust it from your settings. So if you click on settings,
Over here.
yeah,
Yep. Click on settings. And then here
you have
you
to go to style. Yeah, you can change it.
yeah, so if you have a color blindness issue with those colors, you can change them to a gradient that works for you guys. But to the question of um, what exactly is early recovery and how do you analyze the signal? So early recovery, let me find one, a yellow signal right here. So momentum is recovering and it's calculating a number of things. And the one thing that I do give away is it starts to calculate volume. So that comes before the green signal. So it's your momentum is starting to shift from bearish and is starting to try to recover. So look how we went from right here. We were aggressively bullish, and then it started to decelerate, and we switched to some initial weakness, and then it switched to aggressively bearish, and price dropped. But once it found support in this doji, right, and then see the volume stack down here, I'm giving away one of my secrets because volume is key. Started to recover price with volume, and it says, "Hey, I'm potentially seeing an early recovery here." Price continued to go up, hit the VWAP. We never got the green signal because look, volume never increased. That's not by accident, guys. Volume never increased. That's why we didn't get the green signal. If you're in my war room, you hear me talk about this. Well, it did. It flashed green here and then failed immediately because this green would have held and we would have broke here had this happened. But it did the exact same thing I walked you through. Boom. So initial weakness, aggressively bearish, back to initial weakness. Okay. And then we broke the VWAP on. You notice that there was never a yellow signal. Why did it not go early recovery first? Chat, give me the answer. Look, it didn't go orange, red, orange, yellow, green. Why is there no yellow in there? Come on, chat. Tell me. The answer is so in your face, it's not even funny. Some of my senior traders in here should know this answer because we talk about it. Anyone? Russ, Nav, look at you guys. Hell yes. Guys, it's like, so what happened to this race car? Turned the corner and it didn't push the gas pedal. It hit the nitrous button. And that nitrous button, my friends, is called volume. And yeah, there you go. So hopefully that answers your question. Let me go ahead and check some other questions. Um, Raul coming with 3 questions. Will smart alerts get on the phone? Absolutely. We can show you how to do that. You can set those alerts to come. So let's look at that. So you come over here to the clock for alerts, uh, and then you go to the settings right here. Condition, you want the version 2. You select any alert function. You go down to interval. It's going to be preset as same as chart. Don't do that, guys. You want to select 5 minute because this system's optimized on the 5 minute, right? And then your expiration and let me see here. Notifications right here. Notify you in the TradingView app, toast notifications, send an email, webhook, play a sound or plain text. And then Harsh, how do you get it? How do you get it as to your phone? Is it just through the app?
Notify in the app.
Yep.
Also, you'll be getting smart alerts on your email also.
Okay. You can do smart alerts on your email and then connect that to your SMS. So that's how you do it. So that's question one. Secondly, we have to trade after the candle closes. So the signal is confirmed on a candle close. So let's go back to that's a good question. Let's go back to zoop. There we go. Let's look at this signal. This was a beautiful signal. So this candle closed. All right. So that is actually the signal, right? So you could have taken this short and ES, we would look for 10 right at the close of that candle with a 10-point stop loss. All right. And a 10-point take profit. But look where that mean reversion level, it's close. So you're almost 10 points away. So you could say, first of all, I could disqualify because in the alert it would say 10. Um, and then that's too close for me. But what you see, so the read comes at the candle close, but more often than not. So if you did it exactly then, like smash the button, you probably would have taken a loss here, depending on what you're hunting. Remember, I said that close to the box, you might do reduced, right? So, and on this trade, had I taken this trade, I wouldn't go one for one. Somebody tell me in the chat where my stop loss would be. Would I do one for one? I would pay something to be somewhere. Yep. There you go, Jaron. So look, I'm only a few points away from the VWAP. So I would move my stop loss two places, either above the VWAP or above that piercing wick at the VWAP. So it's a slight inverse. And now I'd be protected. So that's one way to do the trade. If you want one for one, full disclosure, you would have lost. But I like to pay for that protection of the VWAP. And then also you can play the retest at a level. If you get the signal on your phone, you open your phone, price is here, you're like, okay, okay, okay. So the signal happened. Look for your discount. So you see where that cross is? I'm going to mark it with that line. Say, okay, that gave the read. The read is confirmed. Momentum's confirmed. I'm going to buy the retest. And again, there's your retest. If we go 10-point stop loss and 10-point take profit, you got paid. If you went slightly inverse to be above that wick, 13 for 10, right? You got paid. If you said, you know what, I'm going to trade it down to the box and trail it, you got paid. If you said, hey, I want to trade it to the key level of 6,600, you got paid. So hopefully that answers your question. And then I think there was a third question. Let me find it again. Yeah, so you typically you avoid shorts into red boxes or into mean reversion levels, and you avoid longs into boxes that are above. All right. But the new updated version won't give you signals where I'm telling you to avoid them. Right. So we've made that cleaner. Harsh has done a wonderful job. You won't see signals in this box. Okay. And this is the primary read system. Now, my mean reversion traders will take the opposite read and buy their way out of it. But this is only going to give you the A plus setups. You guys answering the questions correctly is badass, guys. Good job. Let's see what. Yeah, Harsh has to go. If you have questions, guys, tag him in the chat and he'll discuss it. I've got about 10, 15 more minutes and I have a hard stop. If volume is important, does it make a difference what chart you're on in TradingView? Example, XAU, CFD, Wanda. Yes, it does. So that's a great question, Rob. Um, you can look at the volume on the chart that you're on for the CFDs, but really, what we watch is so let's say let's XAU USD. I think mine's preset. Okay, so let's just go here. So this is one of the brokers, and you can watch this volume, but there's so many brokers. I think the most reliable is running the gold futures chart because there's only one. That volume is more reliable because there's not six brokers giving it; it's one. So this comes from the CME, right? So you could actually run that side by side. We do Dan and I do that in the war room. We rely heavily on uh, the volume in the futures market. Um, Yeah, like man, Jaron, you are sharp, bro. Volume of CFDs is the volume of the broker and not centralized, whereas this volume is centralized. Okay, Zach, will I eventually give the number of points to hunt based off the volume and back testing? Okay, here's the thing. Yeah, so you can check with Harsh on his back testing, where it's optimized. But what we hunt will shift based on market regime. Are we in a trending environment? Are we in an expansive environment? Are we in drift? Regime means the trend, right? So for those who've traded with me for a long time, when gold was moving normally, it was 10 points. Silver was 10 cents. To give you an idea, the beta, right? When beta increases, the number of points you hunt increase. I mean, silver got to the point where it was over $1, like on the same read. But that'll also rip your face off, right? If you're going 1 to 1, losing $1 sucks. So we're constantly adjusting this to the market regime in terms of saying, hey, like what we're doing in gold right now. Normally we hunt 10, but guys, it is an expansive regime. In other words, the beta of or volatility of gold has increased. We can now hunt 15 to 20, right? But of course, hunting 10 should do very well, right? But because it's more volatile and moving stronger, we expand. And then once gold calms down, we'll announce in the war room or in the VIP or even in indicator chat. If we see a dramatic change, like let's say gold just stops, does the opposite. Primary reads are only paying 5. We'll announce that in the I will announce that in the chat, the matrix indicator chat, my VIP lounge. I'll let everybody know. But as of now, it is what it is. So it's all based on market regimes. We can only trade what the market gives us. If the market's giving us $1 per read, we'll take $1. If the market's giving us 7 cents, we'll take 7 cents, right? Yeah, so Brett, is the indicator included in a war room fee? When you come to my war room, during the time we're trading, I understand I am the indicator. I take off the reads because I call them in, but you have everything. You'll have everything you see here. So in the time you're on Zoom with me and Dan in the VIP, you will see this. You'll have all your levels in there. Like when Dan does his, he runs the charts on Wednesday. He'll actually build it out rather than running the matrix, and we've designed that so that you see how it's the levels are built. But it is a separate charge. You can use it, all throughout your trading day, like having me sit there and trade with you. Now, we showed in the optimization that if you only traded one contract over the last month, you would have made $25,000, even losing 30% of the time, and a matrix would have cost you 350 bucks. Now tell me it's too expensive. I'll wait. If you traded half of that, 12,000. If you traded 10% of that, $2,500 at 350 bucks, people think the matrix is too expensive. You want me to trade with you? You couldn't afford me to sit at your trade desk. All right. So the matrix in my mind is right here on the charts. Um, the risk per trade. So on the gold, I think he did 12 points for 12 points, right? So he kind of split the difference between the expansion regime and normal. So you would have approximately the back test was 12 points per trade. So you just take your points times your leverage or your lots, right? Yep, $89 US per week, guys. When you're trading on leverage and you get like, if you on this gold, you catch 3 reads, one contract, that's 20,000, that's $3,000 just in here. Depending on what you're trading, but I'm just saying one mini contract for 89 bucks. I mean, pretty damn good deal, really. All right, what other questions? Again, I was going to do this webinar where I was going to show you guys how to disqualify trades, but Harsh and I have met and met and met and met for hours and built this system to where it disqualifies most trades for you. Now, full disclosure, guys, even with things being disqualified, this system, the matrix, has lost 28% of the time, which is really close to my personal win rate of that I've been running here lately, about 80%. I run cold sometimes personally at 70%, and if you've been with me the last 2 weeks, I'm running hot at 95%. But the long-term average is about what this is doing, right? as it should be, because this is the matrix system is built from the mind of student alpha, right? What other questions can I help you with, guys, about it? First of all, it, we've tried to make it as set it and forget it as possible, right? But you have to still drive the thing. You might know how to drive your car to work. So you know how to work a steering wheel, you know how to work a gas pedal and a brake. But jump into a Formula One race car and try to drive it once. Do you think it would take a little bit of practice, nuance, and experience? Yeah, yeah, right. So um, you could and you guys saw if you were in the trading war room, I think Friday, I disqualified a trade for everybody, and I was accurate. And then over the last 2 weeks, where we've had 23 calls correct out of 25. So we had 25 calls, 23 being correct, two losses. Right now, we understand in the war room, not everybody's hitting every call, but those are the legitimate call outs we did. And I went back and looked at 6 times out of in the war room. I said, we're not taking a read. We're not taking a read. So you could even look at a trade here and it's saying, primary retrade. I don't want to take it. That's fine. You can sit out at any signal. And my recommendation is if you don't feel good about it, even if it's 100% accurate, psychologically, don't take the trade. All right, let's see here. Questions. On the earlier chart, when the volume kicked in, why was there no read to go long? I think it was ES minis. Let's see, Mike. Let me get back to ES, see if I can find it for you. Are you right here with this volume right here? I assume this is what you're talking about, Mike. Yeah, Dave, I'll zoom back and find some. We'll have to find where the bias flips. So Mike is asking about why is there no read to go long here? Is this the area, Mike, right here that you're talking about? I'm gonna possibly there was a chart moved with volume. Okay, so and maybe I'll scroll back too, but let's assume that this is the area you're talking about. That is a 5 minute positive cross with volume, but we are below bias. We are also look, see the 1 hour right here. The trend status tells you where it is. The 1 hour is bearish, so we're short bias. So this is just a reload. You would actually want to take the next trade that does VWAP rejection into a 5 minute cross, and then as long as you had initial weakness or aggressively bearish, another signal would populate here. So it will not give you. Remember, the matrix is built to give you signals on the confluence stacks that have made me a successful trader year over year, making 7 figures. Right. So this is a 5 minute cross in the opposite direction. If maybe back here, this is the furthest we went back on that. It would not give you a buy signal on any of the positive crosses because it's below bias, below the VWAP. So what it is doing for you, it's eliminating any possible confusion in your trading. Buy signals. Let me see if I can find some. There we go. Had to scroll back far enough that um, that we had a positive market. So here's a great example. Let me see. Okay, so look, here's a primary read long. So the bias, so you can see, actually, it's not. We're above bias. We're below VWAP. It gave the buy signal right here on this candle, right here, because you had price up, volume up, above the VWAP on this candle, and at least buy side momentum, which then was confirmed, right? So if you took this trade and hunted it for 10 points, let's see what happens. And I think you could maintain a 10-point stop loss because the VWAP's overhead. If you wanted to buy a little bit more insurance, you could go right below that wick, right where buyer stepped in, and you're hunting 10 points. What did it paid? And I did this at the close of the candle, guys. Oops. Get up there one more. Come on. Sometimes it's hard to scroll there, so let that 40 ticks. Oh, look at that. It paid. Now, you could have said, I personally don't want to take that trade because when you got the alert, it says that the mean reversion level would have been 8 points away. So you could personally have disqualified it, but the reason why it didn't is because the read is not inside that zone. So that would have paid there. The next one here, you had this is a nice setup. You have VWAP cross, so that's your first domino. You have the 5 minute cross, second domino, and you have buy side momentum. So close of that candle gave the signal. If you went close of that candle even, right there, and you hunted the same thing, and I like the stop loss because it's below VWAP. If you wanted to pay points, you could go just a little below that swing, but it's not necessarily. You have VWAP protection. You would have taken a trade, would have entered into drawdown by a couple points, and then it paid also. So there you go. Um, let's see. Would you take only a short position if 1 hour indicator is bearish? Yes. So would you only take a 1 hour is bearish, but the 5-15 minute is bullish and gives a bullish signal? Okay, so the highest percentage would be if I'm taking shorts and all that is red, right? That's going to be the highest percentage winner. But if I'm taking a short and this I'm looking for shorts, the 1 hour is red, the 30 minutes red, the 15 minute is green, but then the 5 minute is red, I'll take that short. I just don't want, I don't, it's tougher to take the short. If the 30 minute and 1 hour disagree, we call that torsion, right? Because we might be rolling over. But as long as the top two are red, the middle one's green, you're good to go when this one turns red. So good question. So Rob, the signal will not populate until that candle closes, right? So when that candle closes, then you'll see so I know it looks, if you understand how EMAs work, I know that it looks like you would have seen this on the close of this candle, but you won't because it's back measured. At the time this candle closes, they would be touching, not crossed. It actually happened on this one because remember, it's a laggard. I know visually it looks different, but as it's happening live time, that's what happens. So the signal will populate on the close of the candle. Again, then you can nuance it. You could say, hey, the alert comes to my phone by time I get my charts open, and I'm either gonna like there was the candle. I'm gonna look for a discount within the candle. I do this all the time. Matter of fact, that's one of my winners on Friday. I did that. Like I'm gonna be looking for a discount somewhere in the real body, even as much down to that level, right? So even though the candle close signal's here, like I would like to grab just a couple few extra points, right? That's your decision, right? Remember, the system is close of the candle, but you could say, I want to wait and see if I can grab a couple, two, three, four extra, five extra points, right? Nothing wrong with that. Asking for a discount. If you were asking for a discount to the actual read level, that pays a lot of times, but in this incident, it didn't. My experienced trader, Jeff Heyer, almost exclusively waits for it to retest. If you guys were on the FOMOC with me, Jeff was my co-pilot. He's in, shh, I won't tell you how much money he makes, but he works very little and makes a lot of money trading. He would have waited for that, and then he would have not got entry, and that's fine. He talked about that. Sometimes you don't get entry, so it's okay once you get the signal. If you wait for a minor discount, and that's up to you on when you smash your button, right? That was a good question on that. Let me see what other questions we have. All right, guys, this will be recorded. I am up against my hard stop. We feel that this matrix system brings an amazing value to you as a trader, especially if you like being in a war room with me, because this is me being on your charts round the clock. So if you have any other questions, feel free to take it to the indicator chat. And if you don't own the indicator and have access to the indicator chat, you can ask me in general chat as well, folks. No problem. Whatever chat in the Student Alpha Discord that you need to ask me a question, do so. Thanks for joining in. And we're going to do this on a regular basis to where, we can help, and because we will have data from the previous week and we will look at, okay, why did that signal work? Why did that signal not work? I took it. Should I have not of those type things? Because we want to foster you through using this. And again, remember what I said. losing 30% of the time in gold over the last 30 days, you won one mini, you still would have made $25,000 if you would have traded every single time. Of course, you're not going to do that. If you traded 10% of the time, you made $2,500 and it cost you $350 to do that, right? So, all right, guys, have a good one.